thy.
Welcome to the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm the Indie Kid.
And I had this big speech, huge speech ready to go, talking about how gritty this team was and how, I give up on them, but they continue to fight. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But the reality of the situation is Tennessee flat out got screwed today, period. I don't care what you say. A lot of times in football, a referee makes a call, and after the game, I say, well, you can't really blame it on that because this happened and that happened, and it may have changed the outcome, but there is no doubt about it. It was a walk-off win. Tennessee absolutely got hosed. That's all there is to it. And now the 6-game losing streak in the SEC tournament extends to 7 games. But I think we're in agreement. The reality of the situation is that Tennessee got hosed.
It's Alabama and it's SEC. What more can you say right there? And Alabama's fighting for their tournament life right now to get to the regionals. So why not, man? Let's get Alabama. Let's get another SEC team in there. So it is what it is. Yeah, that you don't call that. Not with the game on the line right there. I would like a full-fledged explanation as to what the reason for that. Did the hand interfere? Did he go too far in on it or what? That I'd just like an explanation to know more. But, on the surface, you don't call that. Not in a tournament, not the game online.
We're going to take a look at the play. I've got it pulled up here. We're going to go in depth. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about just what the SEC tournament means. And is Tony Vitello focused on that, or is he looking ahead to the regionals? We're going to get your comments in the chat. But first and foremost, I want to hit this super chat. I can't hit it because it was so long ago. It falls off of StreamYard after so long. Donovan Milliken was here like 6 hours ago, like right after I created the stream. He dropped a $10 super chat. Donovan, we appreciate the support. He says, let's beat Bama and advance. Tony Vitello should have been coach of the year. I know Arkansas did not lose a series, but what Tony Vitello has done with Tennessee is beyond amazing. So again, Donovan, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate that. Let me hit the chat. Let's see who's hanging out. And then I kind of want to start there and then we'll get into the game. Let's see who's hanging out. Ty My 404 is here. Umpires gift wrapped and handed this to Bama. Yep, I agree. Credence Wood saying what is on all of our minds. Lucas Sharp seems to be an ongoing theme in the chat. Donovan is here and just says, wow. Eli, you're right. The Grumpires completely screwed us. Something about Alabama and officiating. The game today was 100% Tennessee in a nutshell. Just Tennessee in a nutshell. Landon Lewis is here. What's up? Landon says, I'm a huge fan, and you're okay, Indie Kid. You know what? I said it today, man, and I'll say it to your face now because you weren't here earlier. I said it on a football video this morning. The Indie Kid's doing the Lord's work because football videos, they're easy. I get on, I talk about football, and 5,000 people watch it. But the Indie Kid is putting the baseball program, the basketball program on his back. We're trying to build that side of it. We appreciate all you guys tuning in and checking it out. Brian Drews, you guys just continue to sum it up. Yeah, I agree. Jason Betts, joke of a call. Welcome on in, guys. Make sure you do smash that thumbs up. If you're new here, welcome. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You don't miss out when we go live or when we drop new content. We're going to try to cover this thing after the loss today. I guess Tennessee plays at what, 9:30, 10:30 tomorrow, something like that?
It said 10:30. I'm not sure if that's Eastern or Central time, though.
10:30 a.m. Eastern time against Mississippi State. So we won't be able to go live, but we'll try to drop a video as soon as the game ends. So make sure you tune in for that. Like I said, guys, we're going to run through this game. We're going to kind of break it down, but I want to start there because of Donovan's super chat talking about Dave Van Horn being nominated as Coach of the Year. What do you think about that, Indie Kid? Is it Coach of the Year or best team? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a tough one right there. It's hard to go either way with it, really. I mean, because, in all technicality, Vanderbilt's still the defending national champion right now. So maybe you look at it from that standpoint that Arkansas is not the defending national. They're number one, but I don't know, man. I think it's hard to argue. I don't think you could. I don't know. I can't say anything negative against it, but also, I definitely think Vitello deserves. I don't know. I mean, depending on preseason projections versus postseason, that's and I don't have it pulled up. I'll be honest. I don't remember what the preseason projections were.
I think Tennessee was middle of the pack, but I don't remember. I don't think Arkansas. I don't remember where they were preseason.
That's what I would base it off of. So if one of you guys in the chat has that for us, if you would post that, that'd be great for us. Obviously, we could probably pull it up, but I would probably go off that. But I don't know. I've only got one concern with Tony Vitello, and it's not coach of the year. He's coach of the year in my mind, but it's going to depend on who you ask right there. I just hope that our coach of the year is our coach of the year again next year. So
I think he's going to be. I really do. The more comments I hear from him, the more I think he likes Knoxville. We've beat it into the ground on this channel for the last several weeks about how he wants upgrades more than he really wants pay. But just his comments, man, he seems to like it in Knoxville. But I think Tony Vitello did more with less compared to Dave Van Horn. So I don't know who deserves to be coach of the year. Some other postseason honors we can talk about, mention real quick. The Vols did have 3 players earn SEC postseason accolades. You had Liam Spence and Jake Rucker, which were named first team all SEC. Pitcher Blade Tidwell named to the SEC all freshman team. I think Blade Tidwell's got a bright future.
Yeah, man. He, some of you guys, of course, Boogie, some of you guys in chat may know, I went up to Columbia last week. I went up Thursday night and Saturday, and man, Tidwell was bringing heat Saturday. He started off the game in that 92-3 range, 92-93 range. The later the game went, the harder he was throwing. He was blazing late, and of course, he got into a jam there in the 8th, and Hundley bailed him out, and Hundley got out as good as he could. But yeah, he looked good. Like he's looked good the last 2 weeks. Especially against Arkansas. He went, 8 innings? Or he went into the 8th against Arkansas. So, yeah, he's pitching his best at the right time. And same with Chad Dallas. Chad Dallas almost got through 8 last week after my encouragement. Not really, but
I posted that without your permission into the Talkin VAWLS Facebook group. They were all eating it up. I said, the Indy kid gave him an earful, said he better go 8.
Yeah, but both of them, and I know the point you're going to get to in a little bit, and I'll save that. But yeah, Tidwell, he's been good, and I'm excited to see what he brings going forward. Look, I mean, this pitching staff, especially if Vitello returns, and I'm sure we'll address that later. But man, this pitching staff, you got to be excited about it next year with Dallas and Tidwell coming back. Plus, who do they add to that?
Well, let's talk about this SEC tournament a little bit before, again, guys, welcome in. We got 51 people watching live. Make sure you do smash that thumbs up. If you haven't done it, share the link out. Share it to Twitter, to Facebook. Let people know that we're live. We're trying to build this baseball brand. We're going to try to give you guys as much coverage as possible throughout this tournament and then going into the regionals, hopefully super regionals, and then the College World Series. We're going to try to go live if at all possible. If not, we'll drop a video, provide as much coverage as possible. Again, we're going to talk about the game in depth coming up, but I just want to kind of get an overall picture as we move into it, because something you talked about, Indy Kid, on Monday in your video kind of previewing the SEC tournament was just how serious everybody's taking this thing. And today's game, I know they put Will Heflin on the mound. I was happy with that because I was expecting Sewell to start, and we'll get into it and talk about what he did today. I was very impressed with what Sewell did on the mound today. But what do you think? This game, I don't think you can chalk it up to, well, Tony Vitello doesn't care. I think it was more about the bats. Tennessee did not get the bats going early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the lineup; it's the same everyday lineup they played the whole year, or at least through when they got into the, the meat of the schedule. So, yeah, I mean, Will Heflin went 5 1/3, 2 innings, 2 runs. That's what you want out of him, right there. Sewell come in, didn't give up anything. Hundley gave up a run late that got beat, but yeah, I mean, you can't. That's what you chalk it up to today. And I don't know if that was Bama's top guy, their number 2 guy, or what. And they may have thrown off today as well. But that's what it comes down to is the hitting.
No, that's
still.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say, that's what's interesting about Alabama is it was not one of their top guys on the mound. Jacob McNary, coming off of an injury, he's only pitched 2 innings since April the 17th. And for the season, he's thrown 30 1/3, given up 36 hits, 6 walks, 25 Ks, and a 5.04 ERA, which was kind of surprising to me that they went with him because Alabama's trying to play their way into the regionals, whereas Tennessee's pretty much got a spot. They can go 0-2, go home, and they're going to have a spot. But Alabama's playing for something. But Jacob McNary went out and he played a heck of a game. He started off well. I got the box score pulled up here. Where'd it go? What did he give him?
Let's see. I've got it up here as well.
4 1/3, didn't give up a run, 3 hits. I mean, he gave that's the longest outing he has had all season. So for Alabama to get that out of Jacob McNary was big time for them.
Yeah, I mean, both runs they gave up were unearned. So, I mean, their pitching got the job done today.
And that was kind of the narrative that I was going to paint going into this thing because, Tennessee struggled early. They were getting some hits, but it seemed like they constantly had 2 outs when they got runners on base. And then 7th inning, Alabama just shoots themselves in the foot, couple of errors, and then Pavloni drops in an RBI bloop single, and then this is something, it's a huge pet peeve that we've talked about before. You can't try to throw a guy out. And this is Alabama doing this, but still, it happened late in the game with Drew Gilbert, too, for Tennessee. You can't try to throw a guy out when you have no chance, and you allow guys to take extra bases. And that's what Pavloni did. It was a bloop single. The throw allows him to extend a single into a double, and then you got runners on second, third with 1 out and a 1-run game. Liam Spence, infield single, just little things. All of a sudden, the game's tied, and Tennessee starts creating that momentum. And let me go ahead. This is what everybody's talking about. Lucas Sharp in the chat says we were screwed by the refs. So let's go ahead and pull it up. Let's go ahead and look at the play because it's the bottom of the 9th. You got runners on first and third, 1 out, infield single, and this is what happens. I've got it on the screen so everybody can take a look at it. I just don't see how this is runner interference. He's sliding directly into the bag. Left hand goes up. What's he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do, Indy Kid? Is he supposed to take a knee to the face, or can he put a hand up to protect his face?
I want to say it one more time.
I just don't see how this is runner interference.
Well, here's the thing, though, as a defender. If you're that second baseman taking the throw right there, you're throwing through the guy, hand up or not. I mean, so I think he juggled the throw. It looked to me like he had trouble getting it out of his glove. And that's just a good baseball slide right there because by the time he gets it out of his glove, the hand's down. I would love to see the finish on that to see
it was a high throw, and Rucker obviously beat out the throw.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how you make that call to end the game. I don't see it.
I think the thing it's going. I'm not saying right or wrong, but
because he hit him in the nuts. That's what what Tony Vitello said. As soon as he goes out on the field, he's like, "Is it because he hit him in the balls? Is that the problem? Because he hit him in the balls?" But what are you supposed to do as a base runner? Are you supposed to take a knee to the face? Let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way, Indy Kid. If there is no defender there, right? If he is just sliding into the bag and the left hand goes up, do you say, well, that was a weird looking slide? Or you just say, looks like a normal slide?
I don't think it was a proper slide. I think that's the problem right there.
You think the left hand going up is a problem?
Yeah, I think it is. I think the left hand should have been on the ground right there. I think he went in with his body shifting towards center field, where his legs should have been, his body should have been shifting toward home plate right there. I think that's where the problem comes in on it.
Do you not think he's protecting his face, though, looking to take a knee to the face?
Maybe. Yeah, I think. I mean, I'll be honest with you, because there's too much not being able to call it. I think that's a no call. I think it's just a good, hard baseball play. I guarantee if you ask that second baseman right there, he's not going to have a problem with that play. I will say that. And, yeah, Joey Watts, you make a point. If that second baseman doesn't have a cup on, that's on him right there. But, yes, I think he slid to the wrong side, and I think that's what got him. If he would have went with left hand on the ground right there, it wouldn't have been an issue. And I believe that's where the problem comes in. Again, I still say it's a tough call, but yeah, I'm with Corey on this one. If he goes left hand on the ground, it's not an issue.
But it's sad that this is what determined the outcome of the game, because I think Jake Rucker would have been safe regardless. Like, I don't think the slide really impacted the play at all. Maybe it caused him to release the ball high. Maybe. But I think Rucker was safe regardless. And it's sad that officiating is getting in the way of the outcome of a baseball game. And it's like football. It's like football and roughing the passer and the way that referees are controlling the game. Tennessee won this game, and they got screwed by officiating, and it got reviewed and held up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that this is the way that the game ended.
Yeah. I don't know what you're dying about, Joey. I think there's no doubt if he goes in with left hand on the ground, he's good on it. I think that's the whole question right there with it. So, but again, I don't know that you overturn that. That's a tough one right there. That's I don't know. That's tough.
It's a tough way to lose a game. Tough way to lose a game.
It is. Yeah, that's what Blazing Rebel, even if he's protecting himself, you can't interfere with the throw intention.
But isn't that ridiculous? The age that we come from in baseball, just like football, we talk about it on the Talkin' VAWLS football shows, and how Ronnie Lott, imagine him playing now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Look back to all of our childhood watching baseball. How many guys took out second baseman, took out shortstops, right? It used to be a part of the game. Sliding. I mean, you would slide 6 feet out of the baseline to take out a defender. And now it's, oh, well, he put his hand up, so he's automatically out. It's impacting games.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I can see it both ways on it. And I don't necessarily like the call, but, I see what you're saying, Joey. Yeah. Yeah, if you're playing infield and you're not wearing a cup, then yeah, I got you.
You got balls of steel.
Yeah, I got you, Joey. I see what you're saying, but that's a tough one, man. And did they review it?
Yeah.
So, here's one thing you know about the SEC: if you review the call, you're probably not getting an overturn. Yeah, you're probably not getting an overturn on it. But again, we can blame the umps, and I don't know that it's the right call. And I see Vitello's on right now. I'd love to hear what he's saying. But I still say Ferguson slid the wrong way on it. He should have went in left knee down, left hand down. It would have been a non-issue at that point had Rucker beaten it out. So I think Ferguson, I think that was the problem with it all. Yeah, taking it, you take the guy out, that's fine. That's baseball. I'm with Corey on this one. I just think he went in the wrong side and he used the wrong hand right there, because that hand is coming up again, whether it hits him in the nuts, whether it hits him in the thigh, whether it hits him in the belly. I think that's the problem with it. So there is a part of me can see it right? I'm not going to say it was a total screw job. If I were an umpire, I'd probably have a hard time making that call, but thankfully I'm not an umpire. But man, yeah, that's a tough way to go out right there. But again, it goes back to fundamentals sometimes. You're always taught at a young age, especially when you're sliding in to take out a double play. You go in left knee down, left hand down. And Ferguson's been taught that. He knows better than that.
Well, let's take a look at the game today again. Will Heflin, he had a decent outing. Let me pull up his numbers here.
He had a Will Heflin outing.
That's the best way to describe it. It seems like Will Heflin, when he gets to the lineup, going through the lineup for the third time, that's when he starts to struggle. And that's exactly what we saw today. He comes out 1, 2, 3 first inning, second inning, gives up a single, double to start the inning, gets 3 straight ground balls, gives up 1 run. And Tennessee is still in the game. And he's kind of on cruise control, gets into the 6th, again, start to go through that lineup for the third time and just absolutely loses control. He hits a batter. He's got a wild pitch, and then Pavoloni throws the ball into center field, which we've seen way too often. You got an intentional walk, and then he gets the hook, and Camden Sewell comes in. But what do you think, Will Heflin? It's like you said, it's a typical Will Heflin outing.
Yeah, I think so. And Corey just made a comment too. Ran out of gas as always, unfortunately, and that's kind of his limit right there. And you notice that's normally when he gets pulled. And I've said it numerous times when we cover it. Tony Vitello knows what his pitchers are capable of, and there's a reason he pulls Heflin when he does. And now he had a decent outing today, not bad at all. I think that's what you expect out of him. But I'm really curious to see what's going to happen when we get to the regionals. If they get to the super regional, if they get to Omaha, right there, because we know who 1 and 2 are. All right, no matter how they go on a weekend series, I know they go Dallas, Heflin, Tidwell. Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell are your 1 and 2, and I'm not sure which order you go on that. Heflin's definitely 3, and you're going to have to see him in the regional. But I don't really know what that's a Heflin outing for you right there, cruising along, and then like you said, that third time through seems to be, his dagger. Right,
the wheels fall off. Like it happens like that. The wheel, like I said, he was on cruise control, and then 6th inning hits and the wheels fall off. But I wanted to talk about Camden Sewell because there were, we kind of speculated on it between the two of us that he may get the start today.
Him earning the start.
Yeah, he conveniently earned the start going into the SEC tournament. But give the guy credit, man. He came in today. Like I said, the wheels fell off for Heflin. Bases loaded. Sewell comes in, and I got a little nervous. He came in, got an 0-2 count, and then he proceeds to walk in a run. But then he fights back. He gets a strikeout. He gets a ground out. Alabama's leading 2-0, and then Sewell just turns it up a notch. 7th inning, 1-2-3. 8th inning, 1-2-3, and then Sean Hunley comes into the game. Just a gutsy outing by Camden Sewell. Maybe he did earn a start. Went 2 2/3, a walk, 2 strikeouts. The run goes to Will Heflin. But Camden Sewell, man, that's a guy. He looked good today.
Well, it was the same last weekend when he threw at South Carolina. He threw Friday night. He came in, gave up the 3-run bomb to Wes Clark, and then he was great after that. It's like he has trouble getting going. And then, once he gets a little bit under him, the more he goes, the better he pitches right there. I'm curious to see who they start tomorrow. Do they go Sewell or do they go somebody else? You and I were texting. We were talking about Mark McLaughlin, I think is his name. I have not seen him pitch on a weekend, and maybe I've missed it somewhere, but I'm guessing he's more of a weekday starter, or not weekday starter, but weekday pitcher. I've seen most of the weekday games. I've missed some of them right there. But, coming into the weekend, when Vitello was on Swing last week, when he was on Paul Feinbaum, he basically said Chad Dallas and Tidwell, they may pitch in relief, but they're looking to set up their rotation for the regional. And I said this, and again, this is, some of you and I's conversations here. We said that if coaches aren't, what's the point of this tournament? Let's get into that. What's the point of this tournament when your top teams are just trying to set up their rotation for regionals, super regionals? And I don't blame them, man. And I got criticized for back in March when I said the SEC basketball tournament is kind of, you want to win the tournament, but in the grand scheme of things, do you want to gas yourself over the SEC tournament, or you want to be fresh for the NCAA tournament? It's the same thing right here. Yes, you want to win a conference championship, but do you want to exhaust Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell, and then you got to go with Heflin or Sewell or somebody? And that's not taking anything away from Heflin or Sewell, but when it comes down to it, man, I want Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell on the mound right there. So I'm curious to see who they pitch tomorrow. I still don't think you see Dallas or Sewell, and if they go out tomorrow, so be it. From what I gather, from what I've read, they are still pretty much, they're definitely guaranteed a regional, and I'm pretty sure they're guaranteed a super regional if they get to that point as well.
Yeah, and they very well could be hosting the super regional too.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. They're pretty much guaranteed both.
Yeah, so what is the point of this tournament? You got a team like Alabama that's trying to play their way into a regional, but even for them, they're throwing a guy that's a reliever. They're not even going with one of their main starters. But for Tennessee, if tomorrow, they play Mississippi State, 10:30 Eastern time, if they march out McLaughlin, they don't care. That's confirmation that they do not care. And yes, today, like we talked about at the top of the show, that's your regular 1 through 9 lineup. All of your starters are in play. But if the season is on the line, if everything is on the line, if this is the College World Series, you're not throwing Will Heflin today. You're throwing either, I would imagine you're going to throw Chad Dallas out there, maybe Tidwell, but I think you're going to start Chad Dallas if everything's on the line. So it goes back to what you said. What is the point of this SEC tournament other than teams like an Alabama or a Kentucky or, maybe an Auburn trying to earn their way into the College World Series or to a regional?
That's who it benefits. That's exactly who it benefits right there. It's the same and I hate to keep relating to basketball. That's who it benefits in basketball.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's why, for me, college football will always be my favorite sport because every single game matters. Whereas, and look, I love baseball. That's my sport. That's what I played. I played 1 year of football. I was absolutely awful. I was a runt. I got run over. I hated it. People stepping on my hands with their cleats. I would cry. Couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand the game. Played baseball from the time I could walk until the time I graduated high school. Love baseball. It's my favorite sport. But when you're watching college athletics, every game in college football matters. Whereas if you get hot at the right time in baseball, you get hot at the right time in basketball, you can make a run. And that's the difference in the sports.
That's exactly it. And that's why, you want to get some momentum. I think the biggest thing, if you're Tennessee, that you want this weekend, you want to get your offense going because I think Liam Spence has struggled for the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Now, I know last weekend, and we were texting about it. It was Thursday night when you had Durkay and you had Pavoloni get on, and then Spence bunted them over, and you got a sack fly. And, you talked about, I was at the game and wasn't listening to the announcer. You said the announcers threw off on that. That's baseball, man. Especially at that point, South Carolina's Friday night guy was mowing down through the first couple innings. You salvaged a run. Spence had that bunt. So he's still going to do the vital things. He played excellent defense last weekend, but his bat has kind of cooled off a little bit. And, let's face it too. Last weekend in Columbia, the bottom of the lineup was the difference in that series. South Carolina's 1 through at least 4, if not 5. They're strong. I know the batting averages hover around 275, those 270s. Dangerous guys right there. But when you got to that 6 through 9, That's where the difference came in, because Tennessee 6 through 9 produced, South Carolina's did not, other than on Saturday when their catcher had a double to start the ninth inning. Other than that, that was the difference. So I think where this provides vital for Tennessee is you want to get your Drew Gilberts. I seen somebody asking a question. I saw Donovan asking about Drew Gilbert earlier. I've questioned that. Don't get me, guys, I love Drew Gilbert. One of my favorite dudes on the team, if not my favorite guy. That bat flip at the beginning of the year was one of maybe my favorite thing of the whole year. But you got to question, do you move? I mean, Lipsius has been hot. And I noticed they switched him and Beck today. Where do they go with that? We'll see. But I think that's the main thing you want to get out of this weekend, is to get your offense going for the regional. Because, who knows who you're going to face. You're going to face some good pitching there. You're going to face aces. You're going to face twos. You're going to face threes. I'm really curious to see where Tennessee goes if it gets deep into the weekend, where they're having to play for survival. Who's going to start? Because you can't start Dallas and Tidwell every single game. So that's where your Heflins, maybe your Sewells. Maybe that's pretty good that, if a guy like McLaughlin or somebody starts, you get to see what you may have if you go deeper when Dallas and Tidwell don't have the rest needed to start.
I agree with Donovan, because this is something that he was talking about in the Talkin VAWLS Facebook group, which, invitation to everybody watching right now. Just go to Facebook, search Talkin VAWLS under groups. We got a private group set up just for listeners. And the reason that's set up is because, look, we all live private, personal lives, but we want you guys to have access to us. That's why we have that group set up. So I encourage you to join it. Donovan was talking about that, the comment here that you kind of touched on, Drew Gilbert and what he's done. And when you look at the lineup, I don't think Drew Gilbert has really delivered as a 4-spot guy. I would maybe move Evan. You could move Evan Russell up, move Lipsius up, and maybe put Gilbert 6th. I think would maybe even 7th. I would maybe even hit him behind Jordan Beck, but he just has not delivered as of late. But we got 70 some people watching live right now. Only 35 thumbs up, guys. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. We're all in misery. We're all suffering. Tennessee drops the first game of the SEC tournament to Alabama. Hit that thumbs up. Make Boogie happy. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm looking through my notes here, trying to see what else we need to talk about from the game. I want to talk about Pavolony, because I feel like that's a dude that has been putting in work. And I saw some people saying, his nose is bleeding, his hand's broken. Why is the guy in the game? He's just a workhorse, man. He is an absolute workhorse. His hands all taped up, just bloody nose in the middle of the game. I think he had a couple of hits today. What did he end up? Let me pull up the stats here. Pavolony, 2 for 4, had an RBI, had a walk, just gutsy performance. And I think he's a leader of this baseball team, man. We've seen so many cross ups in the signals, pass balls, wild pitches, whatever. And he seems to take command. He's not afraid. You talk about playing catcher and being a catcher and, taking pride in being a catcher. And he's not afraid to just pull that mask off his face and go to the mound and have a one-on-one conversation with his pitcher and get him back on track. I think Connor Pavolony is a leader of this baseball team, and I like the gutsy performance today.
I think your catcher is your leader right there, because they're kind of, they're getting the calls from the dugout. And, sometimes, and I'm not sure the case with Tennessee, maybe he's calling the game himself right there. But, most of the time you're getting the call from the dugout. He's kind of setting everybody up. He's setting up coverages, whether it's a bunt coverage, an infield coverage. I would imagine shifts are going through him as well. Yeah, man, he's a gamer. And, Jackson Greer did a good job while Pavolony was out, had some big hits and stuff. And, but I think, like you said, we've seen times where those cross-ups happen, and, it's become a one-sided conversation on the mound with Pavolony letting them know, who's back there, who's making the calls right there. But yeah, he's big. Good game today. Good weekend. I mean, he had that big bomb last weekend. A certain Tennessee fan that may go by the Indy Kid kind of awakened a few South Carolina fans on their side last weekend when Pavloni went yard for a 3-run bomb. But yeah, it's he's big. He's big. And again, him batting ninth, he's the difference in some games. His ninth place batting versus others, because he's a do you move him? I don't think you mess with anything right there, but just some of his throws, some of the cross ups are something you kind of shake your head at a little bit, but when it boils down to it, I think he's a leader right there, especially out in the field.
It's funny you're talking about don't mess with things, and that's something that Tony Vitello has preached all year long. Don't mess with things. Leave it the way it is. And his mindset, and I like it. It's a perfect baseball mindset, is things will work out in the end. It all comes out in the wash. If you do what you're supposed to do, if you compete the way you're supposed to compete, at the end of the season, you'll be where you're supposed to be. And Tennessee won the SEC East divisional title for the first time since 1997. Is that a big thing? I think it depends on who you ask. If you ask a Tennessee fan, is it important that Tennessee won the SEC East? Yeah, it's a huge thing. But Vandy fans are on Twitter. They're mocking Vol fans. They're running their mouths saying it's not a big deal. What do you think winning an SEC East regular season title is a big deal? Because I think it is. And I think maybe, I heard Ben McKee on the Swain event, and, Ben McKee and Ryan Chumpert also have a podcast through VolQuest, really good baseball coverage. And they kind of talked about how the two programs are just in a different place. Maybe for Vandy, winning a regular season Eastern Division title is not a big deal. It is a big deal for Tennessee.
That's exactly it, because Vandy's, like I said, they're still the defending national champions right now. So they've got bigger fish to fry. But when you're Tennessee, when you've been engulfed in mediocrity at best prior to Tony Vitello,
it's like what
deal.
I said.
It's a big deal.
7 straight losses in the SEC tournament. 7 straight losses today.
Yeah, and the thing about some of those 7 losses prior today, not a big deal. I would venture to say the other 6 meant something though, because how many of those years did they not make the tournament?
Yeah,
and most of those, some of those that they did make it and lost, they probably needed those wins to get into the tournament. Now, 2 years ago, obviously they went into the North Carolina region as number 2, so it didn't kill them by any means, and they still went in. But it's just two different programs, 2 programs on different levels right there. And Vandy can mock all they want. That's fine. They've earned that right in baseball. They sure have, and they took 2 out of 3 in Knoxville. But this is big for what means more to Tennessee, winning the East or winning the SEC tournament? The East. There's no doubt about it, because that's longevity. And this weekend, it's over a few days. You're not throwing your aces. And I guarantee you're not going to see Rocker. You're not going to see Leiter. You're not going to see most of these teams' aces. Like you said today, Bama threw a relief. South Carolina didn't throw their ace against Bama yesterday. And I haven't looked at the other matchups as well. But it is big for Tennessee to win the East. And, people can mock all they want to, but that's a pretty big deal. You won your division over the length of the season. Now, there's some questions as to what would have happened had Vandy gotten that other game, but I would counter one way. Vandy may have beaten Alabama and won the division, but also maybe they wouldn't have. Kentucky did get a game. Vandy takes care of business Saturday, and I know that there was a strike call that was questionable right there, but it is what it is. It's a big deal. And, it says you're on the right trajectory. You're on the right path right there. And, not everybody's able to give out a roster full of scholarships like Vanderbilt. So
I don't get
the
that.
Vandy Fund
Makes no sense to me, man. How is that even a thing? I don't get it. But just continuing the theme of doing what you do, not changing things. Did you hear the story of how Tony Vitello found out that they won the East? Pretty funny story.
He was probably passing through, what do you think, Asheville?
Yeah,
around that area.
Had to be exactly where he was at. Lost cell phone coverage. But what I like about the story is the fact that he says because of COVID protocols, they're still taking, 2 buses and the coaches are driving separate. And it's like, well, wait a minute, coach, because in the same interview you said that everybody on the team has taken the vaccine and you're not wearing masks anymore. But yet Tony Vitello, I mean, you're a baseball guy, they have superstitions, man. You always put your left cleat on first. If you're rocking and rolling, you put that left cleat on first. If you're wearing stirrups, you rock the stirrups. If you're wearing solid socks, you keep rocking those socks. Baseball has the strangest traditions, like superstitions. It's part of baseball. It's part of the game. So I love the fact that they're taking 2 buses. Tony Vitello's in the car with a strength coach, and he's trying to follow the Vanderbilt game. Signal goes out. He can't. And I've been there, man. I've been there. It's like you're driving home. You're trying to listen to a game. You can't get it, whatever. And then he gets the text message from the bus and says, Coach, we just won the East. What a heck of a way to find out. And I like that. He said they're going to do a little something special, maybe make some T-shirts, something like that. And once things are done, once the season's over, they'll kind of commemorate that Eastern regular season championship title, whatever you want to call it. But I think it is important. I think it's a big milestone for this team. You set goals at the beginning of the season, and the first goal should always be to win your division in the regular season.
Something I'd like to see in that case is since all the series went Thursday through Saturday, and, of course, you laugh at me because I'm a soccer guy too. I like soccer pretty well. But in the Premier League, on the last day of the season, every game is played at the exact same time. And that way, a lot of times the league's wrapped up prior to that last day. But the times it's gone to that, it comes down to that wire. One game may finish a minute or a couple minutes earlier than the next, and you don't have that, few hours difference right there. Mm-hmm. You're able to know it basically before you leave the stadium. And, I think I'd like to see him consider something like that. But, that's a pretty – because I know probably exactly where he's passing through because he's going from Columbia back to Knoxville. So he has to go through Asheville and then take I can't remember what that is, but he's cutting through back to Knoxville, going by Pigeon Forge and stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish when I was there we would have known at that point in time. But, I mean, I was keeping up. I'd gotten back home and watched the end of the Vandy game. I'm like, this is over. And then all of a sudden the Kentucky guy hits a bomb, and I kind of rattled the house here a little bit and stuff. But, he's still driving separate. It's superstitious at this point. There's no,
it's
especially
baseball,
when
man.
The team
baseball.
Is. He had some funny quotes this week. I really like him because he seems like a personable guy, smart guy, and making the comment about Camden Sewell's earned a start this week, and then
that was hilarious.
Me and the strength coach were cussing about it, and we drove separate, but our whole team's vaccinated right now. Just
all in it's like all almost in the same sentence. Donovan wants us to share up the press conference. I'm trying to keep an eye on it. I've not seen it uploaded yet. Donovan, if you've got a YouTube link, we can definitely share it and we'll go through it. But I don't see it. I don't see it on Brucky Top Insider. I don't see it just searching YouTube. So I don't know if it'll be out there or not. I know he spoke with the SEC Network, but I don't know if we can get that before we wrap up the show. So if you've got a link, let us know, and we'll definitely go through it and give it a watch.
I was trying to see if there's anything here as well. I don't see anything right now. I know, like you said, he spoke to the SEC Network. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I would love to hear what he had to say about the way the bottom of the ninth inning went down. Let's get the bracket shared back up again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Tennessee will take on Mississippi State. Well, just kind of a reversal of roles here because the two favorites are now playing in the losers bracket while Alabama and Florida are playing in the winners bracket. And this game against Mississippi State is no walk in the park. It's going to be a tough game. You know, Mississippi State 3 seed. They ended the season by sweeping Alabama. They swept South Carolina. They did lose the series to Missouri, but Mississippi State is no slouch. They're a good baseball team.
Man, the whole thing with this, and I say it with basketball, and I keep relating the two because I feel there's a lot of similarities, is why not just add another series for the weekend? Have another non-conference game for the week, a resume builder, and then add another series in because they don't play. If they played the whole conference, that's one thing, but they don't. So why not add in another, Tennessee gets to play Auburn, Tennessee gets to play Ole Miss, Mississippi State, somebody like that, because that's 3 they didn't play. Why not do that? Let teams build their resume opposed to a conference tournament where teams are beating 3rd, 4th, 5th starters and stuff. And again, I go back to basketball. It's the same thing. Not that they don't play their starters, they do, and they play to win. There's no doubt, but all conference tournaments are resume builders for the teams who are on the bubble.
Your Kentuckys, your Alabamas, your Auburns. That's all it's about.
Because, just like a basketball, Tennessee was in, Alabama was in. What does a conference championship do? And I had a guy, he's like, you literally said conference championship doesn't mean anything. No, a regular season one does. I don't know. Especially when I heard the interview and he says maybe Dallas and Tidwell pitches in relief. Again, that's,
it tells you all you need to know. That right there, when your 2 top guys aren't going to pitch, maybe they'll come in relief. That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and it's the Bertman philosophy from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Tank the SEC tournament, be ready for the regionals. Because let's face the facts, guys. When it boils down to it, would you rather pitch all your guys, go balls to the wall, and win the SEC tournament? Or would you rather have your top guys ready for the regionals, for the super regional, and then get to Omaha and make a deep run? Which is going to matter more right there? Nobody's going to remember. What's people going to remember? They're going to remember that East Championship over an SEC tournament. And if you want to come on and tell me I'm wrong, that's fine. Or whatever. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. If they won the tournament this weekend, it'd be phenomenal. It'd be fantastic. But let's face the facts. If they did it, they're going to do it, not throwing their aces right there. Yeah, you're going to see Hundley. You may see Connell. You've seen Sewell. You may see Walsh. And these guys, because they're relievers, that's what they do. Relievers pitch pretty much every day. Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell don't pitch every day. And so, that, again, like you said, that tells me all I need to know right there. Yeah, competitive juices get going. You want to win, but you don't win this tournament, it's not the end of the world right here. Especially, and I referenced this dude in my preview video, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. He's probably one of the best college baseball guys to cover it out there. He had Arkansas, Vandy, Tennessee all in his top 4, and he basically – I know somebody asked him, said, if Arkansas just sat at the house this weekend and didn't even show up, are they still the number 1? He said, there's no doubt about it. And he basically said the same thing to Tennessee, that regardless of what happens this weekend, they're definitely hosting a regional, and he was pretty sure they'll host super regional as well. So what's the point?
Yep. It's nothing more than fan service. If Tennessee wins this tournament, then Tennessee baseball fans are going to be on Twitter. They're going to be talking about how important it is and winning the SEC, conference tournament. It's a big deal. It's kind of like winning the East. It is. It's something to brag about, something to be proud about. But the regular season, to me, is taking a full body of work and saying this is what we've done. Whereas taking the SEC tournament, you get hot at the right time. But again, it goes back just beating a dead horse. It's why I love football, because football, you got to perform week in and week out. Whereas baseball, you do what you're supposed to do. You take care of business. You win 2 out of 3. You get to the postseason. You get hot at the right time. and then you win a national championship. Whereas football, you got to be on. You got to be on your A game week in and week out, and that's what makes college football the greatest sport on the planet, because the NFL, same way. Baseball, NHL, everything is the same way. You go to work, you win 2 out of 3, you get to the postseason, you get hot. I mean, I can talk about hockey. I can talk about the Preds a few years ago. They were a mediocre team. They got into the playoffs. They got hot at the right time. They got all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they lost, but they got there because they got hot at the right time. Baseball, basketball, it's all the same. Football, you don't have that luxury. You drop one, you may not even make it to the postseason.
Yeah, that's true, and especially in college, like you said, NFL, you've got a little room for error right there. But with college, having a maximum 12-game regular season, and then maybe your conference championship, which I'll be honest, I'm just not a fan of conference championships, whether it's football, baseball, or basketball. I'm just not, because I think it takes away from a regular season. I'm a full believer in longevity right there. If you go 12 games, let's say, for example, Tennessee goes 12-0, but yet Alabama goes, I'm obviously reversing roles here, but Alabama goes 6-6, but Bama beats them in the conference championship. I don't know. That's one game. But yeah, college football matters more. That's why it's the big thing. But y'all mad you got beat by yeah, we're just pissed off there, Jarrett.
I was going to ignore that.
Stuff, man.
I was going to ignore that, moron, but since you talk about him, I'll put him on there. I bet he's a stud. Look at his baseball picture. I bet he's an absolute stud. D1 prospect, I'm sure.
Yeah. Number 4 in the nation, going to be hoping hosting a super regional. Maybe you guys will get in. So good luck to you.
Yeah, best of luck the rest of the way there, buddy.
Yeah, good luck. If you get to next weekend, it'll be your last. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. And that's, there's a little room for error with baseball. I mean, I said Tennessee played 56 games. Today was their 57th game this year. I mean, that's – and you think of it from NBA plays 82, MLB on a regular season plays 162. So, yeah, there is definitely a little bit more room for error with baseball. And again, I just don't like conference tournaments because I just feel they're resume builders, where you get a bum team like Alabama that comes in and they get a shot to win a couple of days, and they're probably going to get to go play in a regional. But it's not the end of the world. And I'm not really even upset about it, because I kind of suspected it. When you and I debated, would it be Heflin and Sewell? I kind of got the hint it would be Heflin, just because I know Vitello made the mention that Heflin got jerked early at South Carolina, so that left them a little room for there. But it's going to mean something next weekend. When they get to the regional, that's when it means something. That's when blood's going to be boiling right there. When you start seeing Chad Dallas and Blade Tidwell take the mound, that's when it means business right there. But, yeah, I'm a firm believer with basketball and baseball, based on their longevity, that a weekend should not determine anything, not when you've played that many games. And I know I went on a tangent. I went on kind of a off the beaten path a little bit, but that's kind of my thing on it. I just hate the fact that a weekend decides so much when they play so many games.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it really this weekend really doesn't, decide that much, because Tennessee's going to be there. They're going to get that regional, and we'll see what happens. But we're going to wrap this thing up here shortly. I just do want to share this. Oh, wow, I can't share my screen. Let me try it again. I'm struggling here. I'm struggling, Indy Kid. Let me share the screen again. If you want to show some support, you can do this. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. You can pick up these beautiful Talkin VAWLS Egghead 2.0 shirts, available in different designs, color schemes, sizes, good quality merchandise. I just got a Vol Hoops hoodie in the mail, and my wife's like, "You don't even watch basketball." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but where else can you get a $35 hoodie that's such good quality? They're so soft. I love them. But if you guys want to show us some love, go pick up some merchandise. We would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, we are going to be streaming the national championship game on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Should be a good time. The band is back together. The Four Horsemen will ride again, so make sure you tune in for that. If you haven't done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. And just a quick reminder, tomorrow, Tennessee will play Mississippi State at 10:30 a.m. We'll probably just drop a video post-game because Indy Kid will be at work. I'll be at work too, but I'll figure it. I'll figure it out. We'll drop a video. We'll continue to cover the tournament moving forward, and then once we move into regionals and super regionals, the goal is to go live. If we can go live, we will absolutely go live. That is the goal. Sometimes life gets in the way. If we can't go live, we'll drop a video. Make sure you're subscribed, tuned in, all that good stuff. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I just want to. What about you, Indy Kid? Anything you want to say on the way out the door?
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I mean, this is after I come back from my sabbatical. One of my things I was like, man, I want to cover baseball. So I'm obviously never thought that the season would be what it is, that we're going in to the regionals ranked 4th right here. Obviously surpassed my expectations, had expectations for a good season, but I'm a baseball guy. This was kind of one of my big things I wanted to do. And, you know, we hit up in the 70s today viewing this. I thank you guys. Thank you so much, as this is really cool that we're able, you know, football, it sells itself. Basketball and baseball, not so much. It depends on the year. You know, if Tennessee was sucking it up this year, we probably wouldn't have 10 viewers right here. But it's been a great year. Hopefully they can make a run. And, you know, I think his team's got to – can they go all the – Tony Vitello was speaking national championship on Swain and on Feinbaum last week. So you know what this team's goal is. It's not just to win a division. I mean, their goal is to win it all right there. And they're a dangerous enough team to do it. Did they have flaws? Absolutely. But, you know, and people I talked to in Columbia last week and were very complimentary. They's like, man, you guys are – y'all got a team to make a run right here. But, you know, just a quick thank you as we've hit up in the 70s here for baseball. That's pretty cool,
huge.
Man.
That's huge.
Cool.
We were hitting 50 for the Wednesday night football shows last year. That tells you how much this channel has grown. But
you guys have helped us grow. You've welcomed me back. And I don't know, I'm just kind of speechless. I'm very happy with what we've had. And this baseball coverage has been awesome. And hopefully we've got plenty of it left for this season. And hopefully then Mr. Vitello will stick around and grace us with continuing to have good baseball here.
Absolutely. Onward and upward from here. Because of you guys, this channel is only going to get bigger. And the goal, we cut the fat out. We cut the cancer out. The cancer's gone. This channel is Talkin' VAWLS and Talkin' VAWLS only. That's it. Nothing else is ever coming back to this channel. It's UT Athletics only. Onward and upward. I'm telling you guys, the more you show up and show out, the more coverage we will give you. But it's all because of you. This is your channel. We'll never forget that. No matter how big it gets, we will always remember you guys. Your opinion matters to us. I love seeing what you guys think in the comments, whether we agree, disagree, keep it civil. That's all we ask. That's going to wrap it up for the Indy Kid. I'm Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
Stop.